Welcome back to my channel Automation Hub Sarthak, and we are starting this string series. I have done this in Hindi playlist, but somehow I should balance my English and Hindi playlist together. So I forgot to put up the English video. So here it goes. So we'll start with strings, and I'm gonna put up around 10 videos. So this is the first on strings. Extremely important. Please follow each and every video in the sequence I upload. So let's begin. So I have already created a class a string intro to speed it up. So let's begin. There are few things which you need to understand. Strings are important in Java, extremely important, and resulting in too much importance in automation as well. And there is one more thing which is also very important. Strings are extremely important from interview perspective, because we get a lot of interviews, whether it is online, whether it is on paper, wherever you go. If you are not good in strings, you'll get caught. So there is a lot of importance to strings, and the answer to this question is why strings are so important. Obviously, because strings are used in automation or in Java. Let's talk about automation. Strings are used in automation to create objects. Maximum time strings are used, and hence they are very important. Okay, so let's understand some important points about strings, and we will start discussing. This is a purely theoretical video kind of a thing. I will, because see, string operations is purely understanding and very minute coding. Coding is not very important. There are a lot of things which you will need to remember. So once you remember, then strings will be easy. So it needs practice. First and foremost, string is a non-primitive data type. Unlike int, char, float, double, byte, which are primitive data types, string is a non-primitive data type. Okay, so the next point is which comes is the size of string is not fixed, which is true because it is anyways a non-primitive data type. So the size is not fixed, so we can go ahead and put up any size we want depending upon what are the regulations we have for a particular logic. Now, string is also known as sequence of characters. Now, what does this mean? In fact, I'll say string is also called array of characters. Now, this again needs a little bit of explanation, so I'll give that. So first, let me make a character array. Okay, I'll write a character array something like this. So this is a character array which I have created. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a string. Let's say I'm making a string s1 equals to, I will create the object of this string, and in this object I'll pass the array reference. Okay, so now the next thing I'll do is I'll print this object array. Sorry, I'll print this string. If the statement is correct, then we'll get the output. It is correct. So this means that string can accommodate a sequence of characters which is nothing but an array of characters. So string has this capability to allot itself multiple characters in the form of an array. That means it has an inbuilt sequencing arrangement mechanism which is known as sequence of characters. That is why string is extremely important. I doubt there is any other class in Java which has this much privilege. Okay, so that is why strings are extremely important, and they are widely used in a lot of other places. The next thing which you need to know is string is a class. String is a class. And how am I going to prove it? See, string is a class which obviously extends object class. Object class is a parent of all classes in Java, and string has a lot of methods and it implements a lot of interfaces. All those things are there. Why string is a class? Because let's say I'm making a string object. I'm creating the object of a class. Let's say this. So here I'm able to make the object of a string class. So that is why string is a class, because you are able to make an object out of it. Okay, so this is very important. There are a lot of methods inside a string class which we will discuss in subsequent videos, but as of now you need to understand that string is also a class. Now another thing, oh God, string is also an object. Rather, I'll make it more specific. Immutable object. What is immutable? What is mutable? We'll discuss about this. Immutable means, unchangeable kind of a sequence thing, but we will discuss about that a little later. As of now, just understand and just believe that string is an immutable object, and this can be easily represented in this form, like string s3 I can make directly like selenium, for example, and this works. And this is nothing but indirectly you are creating an object by direct reference. That means you are creating an immutable object in the string literal pool or string constant pool memory. I'll tell you about the memory allocation and all in the subsequent videos, but as of now just understand the fifth point: the string is also an immutable object. Okay, now we'll learn a little bit more. Like let's say for example, if somebody asks you how many ways you can create string objects, so there are multiple ways to create string objects. And what are those? One, obviously with the string. The next is string buffer, and the next is string builder. What are these? Like string is a class, string buffer and string builder are also classes. I'll explain in detail in subsequent videos what is the difference and what is the commonality between these three classes. Okay, so let's go ahead and create string objects in various forms. I have created two objects like this already there. So anyways, I'll still write. You can directly write something like this. Let's say hello. This is one way of creating a string object. There is another way of creating a string object is like this. Okay, you can create another object in this particular fashion, and you can use string buffer s6 equal to new string buffer. You can also create a string buffer like this, and there are, let's say, so would you like to take this attempt? It will throw an error, but this particular thing will work in a different way, wherein if you represent string in a certain way and then put string here, then it will work. Okay, so this is something which I did to show you this error. If you click on this particular error, cannot convert string to string buffer. So technically what happens is you cannot convert string to string buffer, but there is another way to get this thing done, wherein you will create something and then allot a string buffer to it. So that I will tell you in subsequent videos. Okay, so this is not the right way to create a string object, because sometimes people might believe, okay, we can do like this and do like this. That means for this particular string class it is working, then for string buffer class it will also. I said strings are extremely important. I never said string buffer and string builder hold equal amount of weightage and privilege. Okay, there are other ways to work around this, but you cannot do create string object directly like this. So string builder also will have to go through the same. We have to use the new keyword to create a string object. So this is so these are the 6 important points. You can put this one as a 7th point, that you cannot create a string object directly, cannot create string object directly like this and neither can you create like this. You cannot just write something like this. This will also not work. I'm just telling you. So these are the 7 points which you need to remember. Basic introduction about strings, why are they so important, and we'll also go through a lot of interview questions. We'll understand how these strings actually, what are the different types of interview questions that are generally asked. I'll cover up almost all of it. So people, those who can watch these 10 videos, I don't think you will get stuck in interview as far as strings are concerned. But yes, application of strings you have to learn on your own. I cannot tell each and every application because it totally differs from one interview to the other. But yes, if your core is strong, you can definitely crack it. I hope you enjoyed this small session on introduction about strings, and please continue your support for my channel. Thank you so much. Sarthak here, signing off.